So we were talking about how I did with my challenge for this MQC, and keeping the eyes open, Bala, it was okay to balance.
Yeah.
But as soon as I closed my eyes, the focus was gone. So I tried to do it, keeping a little focus in front of my eyes, imagining that focus, and then stand on one foot.
Yeah.
So that was helping me a little bit.
Yeah.
But after a few seconds, I was a little wobbly, of course.
Obviously.
Yeah, and that is what happened. So I am excited to learn from you that, curious in fact, what are you expecting? What is this challenge? What is it about?
Yes, thank you. So first of all, as I said, great that everybody tried it out. And there are multiple objectives of that particular workout. Okay. Dr. Raghu gave a beautiful medical sort of side of that test. How that test is used in from a medical, from a investigation, diagnostic purposes.
Correct.
All that good stuff. I think I can. I'm not a doctor, as I always told. I can only give you the running coach side of things, right? So it is a very deep discussion. So be ready for it.
Okay.
And I would like all of you to listen to this, think about it, go back to your video, look at the video, and then come back and listen to it, and then think about it. I think that would be an ideal way to sort of streamline your thoughts and understanding of this thing, right?
Okay.
Now, let me break my explanation into a couple of parts and then bring it all together for you. First one, let's think about how you're running. How you're running. So if you can see me, maybe like this one, how you're running, right? So running step is what? Your leg goes forward, lands, leg goes back, pushes the thing back, and then goes forward back, right? That's what running is about. But if you think about it, the middle of this running, so if you think about the full cycle is your leg going forward and the back leg going backwards and coming back, that is one cycle. In this cycle, the middle of the running posture is this part, right? Your one leg is up, the other leg is down, right? That means this is the middle of the running posture, right? This side.
Correct.
This is the middle of the running
Correct.
posture.
Exactly.
Rest all, your legs are all sort of in the air.
You're balancing the entire body weight on one foot.
The point where running actually is in the middle is this posture. Either leg is forward or leg is back. This is the posture, right? This posture is called as a stance. It's called S-T-A-N-C. Stand. It is the middle of the running posture.
Okay.
So when I ask you to do a single leg stand, I'm asking you to simulate the stance portion of running.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right in the middle.
You are in that portion of stance.
Right. So if you freeze your running,
Yeah.
that part is the middle portion of your running, and that's the stance portion.
Correct.
So that's the first thing I want you to keep in mind. Put it on one corner of your brain for a second.
Yeah.
Now let us talk about 3 levels I'd given you. Level 1, eyes open.
Yeah.
Level 2, eyes closed.
Correct.
Level 3, eyes closed and jumping.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 things. So let us now connect all those 3 to running. Okay. I've always told you that when you are running, it is not just one muscle. There is multitude of muscles that needs to come into play for you to push and run.
Correct.
Right? So if you break down the kinetics of running, and I don't want to go too much detail on that right now, but let me tell you a little bit. There is something called as mobility. That means certain muscles are helping you to move forward. Okay? In running.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then there is something called as stability.
Okay.
That means there are certain muscles which make sure that in the stance position, that means the middle of the running position, you are not wobbly.
Correct. So that's the stable portion of my one foot.
The stable portion of the one foot, that what you tried, that is the stability portion of running.
Correct.
The reason why, just hold for a second, let me just showcase to that. The reason why when you're running, when this portion, if you're stable, imagine you're running, it's not standing static. When you're running, the point where the stance position of running comes, if you're not stable, then you are, when you're striking the ground, you're going like this.
Correct. So
imagine when you're running, if you're not stable, you're going like a little bit of wobbliness is there when the stance portion of running is happening. So stability is an important point of running.
Very important point.
The reason is, in the stance portion, that means in the central portion of running, that is where the entire load of running is felt in your body. Because only when you land on the ground on the stance portion, that is when the weight of your running is transmitted to the ground and the reaction is coming back into the ground. That is the only time the impact forces are going through your body.
Correct.
And that impact forces is 2.5 to 3x the weight, your weight. That much force is being transmitted to your body during the stance position. The stance position is the position that you guys all stood.
Yeah.
And that is when stability of the body is required.
Okay.
Because when the force is coming into your body or getting out of the body, if your body is wobbling around, different muscles are getting, loaded or not loaded.
Correct.
And as a result, your body can get injured. So that is why the muscles that push you forward, mobility is important. Muscles that holds you in the right position, stability is also important. The third portion of running is called flexibility. An ability of your muscles to expand and contract easily so that it can take on the load that is coming onto the body. That is called as flexibility. So there are three portions of running, muscles that it needs to help you. Mobility is the ability of the muscles to push you forward.
Correct.
Stability is the ability of your muscles to hold stable.
Correct.
Flexibility is ability of your muscles to expand and contract so that it gives you flexibility. Those are the three things that needs to happen for you to do a good running. Okay? Of all these three, the most important one I said is stability, because that is when the stance portion of your running, it is helping you in the stance portion of your running where the maximum load is getting transferred. Okay, so understand this theory. That's all I want to say. I don't want to say anything more than that. Now let us come back to our MQC now. So for you to be good in stability, first thing is you need to understand what all muscles are being used to give stability of your body, right? So the level 1 workout that I asked you to do is for you to understand how your body, so when you stand on one leg, when you stand on one leg like this, and you are moving this, but I'm asking you to measure what is happening in your body. So you can see some part of your legs, lower part of your calf muscle, lower part of your thighs, a big portion of your hip is acting to keep your stability going.
Correct.
The main muscles that keep your stability going is glute medius, your butt muscle on the side. There are three main muscles in your glutes: glute medius, glute maximus, glute minimus.
Okay.
Glute maximus is a mobility muscle.
Okay.
That is what pushes you forward. Glute medius is a stability muscle. Glute medius is the most underdeveloped for all human beings, because the more you sit, glute medius goes to sleep. Because glute medius goes to
It's
sleep,
not used basically.
because of our computer, all the stuff.
Because we are not using that muscle in
In
most of the time.
and glute medius is sleeping most of the time. So when glute medius sleeps, there is no stability. So when you are standing with glute medius is weak, glute medius is not able to hold your stable position. Or in other words, in the stance position of running, your body, when it is trying to absorb all the forces, that is when your body is wobbling. So different parts of muscles are getting eccentric loading, injury happens, hip pain, knee pain, calf muscle pain. All of that is because of unstable position at the stance. That is what I'm asking you to measure. How you guys are feeling in level 1 level 1 position when you are seeing. First thing, you go back to your video and look at your hip position. Okay, now I'm going to show you one other very interesting running gait analysis here. So hold. So when I stand here, you are looking at my belt line. Okay, of course I have all of this dress you can't see, but you can go and look at your own video, stand in front of the mirror like this, look at your hip belt line. Okay, if your glute medius is good, you will see that the belt line is parallel to the ground. If your glute medius is weak, you will see a little bit, it's called a Tandelberg syndrome or something, where the hip goes down like this, or a hip goes to the other side, because the hip is not strong enough. The glute medius is not holding the hip in a parallel position. That's your first sign of glute medius needs to be very interesting, right? Glute medius needs to be powered. Then there are other set of muscles too in your leg, posterior tib muscles, in your thighs. Different set of muscles needs to hold your weight, and if those muscles are not holding the weight, you have stability issues. So that is the first thing I'm asking you in level 1. Now let us talk about level 2. Level 2, I asked you to close your eyes, and you told me, Anjali, that it is difficult to hold, right? Most of you guys, level 1, you are able to hold. That means glute medius seem to be working okay. That's why you are able to hold the stability position. But the same body with the same set of muscles in level 2, when eyes closed, you are not able to hold. There was some, what happens here? So there were some good explanations given in terms of, because eyes is the feedback mechanism loop. To what? To your brain. So there are 2 actions that needs to take place, Anjali, here. One is you need to have strong muscles.
Correct.
2 is you need to have a strong nerve-muscle connection, because every muscle needs to get activated by your brain. Your brain is the captain of your ship. The brain has to tell, hey, glute medius, hold the stability position. If the brain doesn't tell the muscles to activate, even though you have a good muscle, the muscle will not work. So for the brain to tell which muscle to work out, which muscle to not work, it needs some kind of a communication loop back, and that is where the eyes helps you. Eyes is telling you, especially on the stability and balance side, it tells you, hey, your body is moving that side, so let us activate this part of the muscle. Correct. Hey, your body is going this side, let's activate that part. All of that is happening in real time through the eye muscle brain coordination. Okay. So when you cut off the eyes, there is no coordination that is happening. So that is the medical answer. But on the running side, what I want you guys to understand is that even though you have good set of muscles, if those muscles are not told to be activated by nerves, that muscle is not going to work. Or in other words, you have to train what we call it as the nerve-muscle coordination activities. You need to train your brain how to activate a muscle. That is strength exercises. So take glute example. You need to train the muscle, that you need to train your muscle brain that go and activate your glute. How do you do that? Is by doing strength exercises. You are exactly asking and teaching the brain to activate the glute medius. If you are always sitting, brain has forgotten how to activate the glute medius, for instance. Because it doesn't know how to activate the glute medius, when you are running, it really doesn't activate the glute medius at all. As a result, you are in the stance position with minimum stability. That is why I just want to simulate that for you guys, that how when brain doesn't work or brain doesn't do its job, even though you have good muscles, as evidenced by level 1, good stability, even though you had good muscles, you are not using those muscles. I want you to understand that by actually shutting off the brain and seeing how your muscle is reacting. So when you're running, you need to understand that the brain has to trigger these kind of impulses to various muscles for it to get activated. The way you ensure that is by religiously doing the kinetic strength training that I've given you. These are all ways in which you are strengthening the muscle nerve coordination.
That is what is happening because of that kinetic strength.
That is what is kinetic strength. You are isolating every muscle and telling the brain how to activate that muscle. When you keep training, when you keep activating these muscles, when you start running, all those muscles, brain is able to activate correctly. That's really what the level 2 idea was, for you to, understand that strength training is not just another thing. You want to run better, you ensure that mobility, stability, and flexibility is good. Especially stability is important, because at the stance position, that's where the weight gets transferred. And when the weight gets transferred, if stability is not there, you're getting injured. So there is all a method to that. Now let's talk about level 3. Closing your eyes and jumping. Jumping.
Yeah.
All of you said that it was much easier to do that.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I want you to realize? The reason why it is easier is that even though brain was not getting the right signals from the eyes, but when you were jumping, it was getting all other type of signals from other parts of the muscles. So it was able to activate a little bit here and there to somehow maintain the posture, which is what is happening in your running. Even though your brain is not really activating the right muscles, because you are running, you are actually simulating the closed eyes jumping scenario. Even though you have not actually learned to activate the right muscles, because you are running, it is giving you other senses to the brain. So it is activating to somehow keep you in a stable position. Somehow you are in stable position.
So because all other organs are helping
not in the organs, all other impulses are going to the brain. So it knows that it has to activate any set of muscles to keep you stable. While it might not activate your glute medius, it might activate some other muscles to somehow hold your stability. That is why you are able to run.
Yeah.
But you are not running with the best stable position possible, because brain is still not trained to activate glute medius. It is activating something else to somehow, because that's why you're finding it okay. But when you go back to your video and you see you are jumping jack position, it is not as if you're jumping in the same spot.
No.
Go and check it out.
Wobbly.
You will jump in this place, you're going there, but you're feeling good.
Yeah.
You're actually feeling good, but you are not jumping in the same spot, because your brain is somehow doing the job. Or in other words, you guys are somehow running, feeling good, but you're not running with the best utilization of what the muscles that you need to be utilizing. That's the difference between us and Kipchoge, right? That is the difference, because Kipchoge knows how to activate all the muscles that are necessary to be activated. We don't need to become Kipchoge, but we can be better in our stance position from a stability standpoint.
So at this point, you are not only trying to strengthen our muscles and helping us to run, but at the same time, you are strengthening our brain to make that connection between our eyes, body, brain, muscles.
Correct. Brain muscle coordination is something that we need to train for, and the way you train for is isolating those muscles and activating that brain muscle coordination. That is what we are trying to do in our kinetic chain strength training. So in summary, for this MQC, I just want to summarize this very important discussion. The stance position of running is the point where you are in a single leg stance position. One leg is connected to the ground, the other leg is sort of flying up. At that point, 2 to 2.5x the weight of your weight force is kind of going through your legs and going through your body. Various set of muscles need to come together to hold your body in a stable position when these forces are ripping through your body. If your body is not stable at that position, then different muscles get eccentrically loaded as opposed to others. Like instead of 10 muscles equally taking the weight, 2 muscles will take more weight, 3 muscles will take okay weight, and another 2 will not take any weight. This is what will happen if you're not stable. Because of that, the muscles that are taking more weight randomly, it's not that the same 2 muscles will take weight. Because you're wobbling, sometimes this muscle will take weight, next time something else will take the extra weight. Because you're wobbly, we don't know which muscle will get more load, and that is when injury happens. That's really what is happening, guys. So, what do we need to do? We need to, maybe we'll go to that road?
Yeah.
So, what do we need to do? We need to ensure that our body is stable in the stance position. For us to get stable, two things need to be in place. All the muscles that are supposed to take the load are well developed. And two, the muscles that are supposed to take the load gets the right brain nerve muscle coordination. When these two happens, then the right set of muscles will activate and it will take the load. Okay, the main muscles that provide stability is the glute medius muscle, the least used muscle for us as human beings, because we sit. The more we sit, the more glute medius goes to sleep.
Okay.
So we need to fire the glute medius. The butt attacks, you remember last season, these are all about firing the glute medius. And kinetic chain workouts is all about isolating different muscles and training the nerve muscle connection, so that in the stance position of our running, we get stability. And once you get stability, flexibility and mobility would be the next step, which will get there. That's it, guys.
Very interesting. It was a really interesting concept, because the way I said it, like, I was not looking at the fundamentals of running as this is like kind of scientific foundation to it, and understanding all those things from you regarding mobility, flexibility, stability, and how our muscles are working. This is very interesting concept, and you are giving lots of shedding light basically thoroughly on it, so that as a runner, as a new runner, I am understanding all those things with your examples and the way you are putting your perspective towards it.
Thank you, Anjali.
This is a very good explanation of it.
Thank you, Anjali. And thank you, guys. Thank you, Anjali, for this. And we managed it in this deep snow with multiple tech problems. Literally wading through snow, -8, -9 degree temperatures, and we still managed it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you, coach.
Thank you, guys, and keep running.